-1. Bloody hell, what's going on? The whole thing's all gone and bloody iced up, so I've got plenty of time, so I'm just gonna wait for the old ice to go. Got the old heated mirrors on, not that they've done anything yet because I ain't had it running very long yet. I'm going on a small mission today. Gonna go and pick up something interesting. I'm gonna go and take some pictures on the way around because it snowed again, so why not go and take pictures of the snow? It's gonna be brilliant. You wait until you see it. I drove past where I'm gonna go. I drove past it yesterday and I thought, this is, hopefully not too much of the snow's melted or blown off. I thought, this is brilliant. So I'm gonna go and have a look there. Oh, you wait. It's gonna be fantastic. And you wait until you see the camera that I've chosen to take the pictures with. Brilliant. So this is where I start. I'm going to take some pictures over there, all around there. Might even go in there, I don't know yet. So this was a lot more heavily snowed yesterday. A lot of it's probably melted. It was on quite a busy road. That was all quite heavily snowed as well. I'm still going to take some pictures. Might be able to get some good ones. You never know. So this is the camera that I've chosen for today. The nice Minister D. Quite a nice, I quite like this camera and I thought I'd take it out and see what kind of pictures I can get. I've been taking pictures all around over there. Problem is, with that lens on it, obviously you're not going to get, you get quite a wide photo, which is probably best. I'll tell you what I love and I find absolutely hilarious, right? I've been here now for about 20 minutes taking pictures and there's some bloke in a car. When you're taking pictures, everyone looks at you. If you're standing there filming or just taking pictures of things, everybody looks at you, right? And I find it hilarious because it all makes them nervous. And, oh, fiesta. And there's this guy in a blue BMW who's gone up and down this road every sort of couple of minutes. He's turning around, coming back, turning around. Because I took a picture of him and it's obviously making him nervous. I find it hilarious, man. Well, I think I did manage to get some quite nice photos, both on the film and also digitally with this. So I'll have a look at them when I get in. I'm going to move on to another location now because I've been here a while and I've only got 2 films with me for the other camera and a 36 on each film, I think. I don't want to waste the films on doing the same pictures, so I'm going to go somewhere else. But I've got something to go and collect as well, which is going to be interesting. See what that is in a minute. In fact, you will already know because it'll be in the title. There you go. at the moment because I've got the heater on because it's a little bit nippy outside, and I don't want to have cold fingers when I'm doing this. I can't stand working in the cold, it's horrible. Plus I've got the old tumble dryer one. Anyway, so I got this KX back. The reason I got it back is because I got it all running nicely apart from having a kickstart. Now it has a kickstart, which is actually quite a nice one. Apparently it's meant for a pit bike, but it does fit on there. But it was the wrong measurement. It was, I think it's a 14mm hole, but the actual shaft is a 15mm shaft, or was it 16? Anyway, it didn't fit, and there's a certain family member decided to hammer it on with a hammer. So you can see there where it's all scratched and hammered. So now, in the future, if we ever need to change this kickstart, or we ever need to take it off to give this a bit of a rebuild, that shaft is probably going to be fucked, and we're probably going to have to replace that whole shaft. So it's a bit of a silly idea to try and hammer it on there if it weren't the right one, but it's on there and it works for now. But if that starts to slip at any point and it ruins all those splines, because it's already ruined them, but if it ruins them anymore, we've had it. Anyway, so it's on there. Now the trouble was, apparently, I think there's a few issues. One, some of you may remember that I had the gearbox oil. See, this is another thing. A lot of people seem to think that it's a two-stroke, man. It doesn't have engine oil. The oil that's in here is for the gearbox and the clutch, right? Not for the engine, not for the piston. Piston gets its oil from in the petrol. So a lot of people seem to think that this is engine oil for the engine. It's not. I don't know how else I can explain it. Go and do some research, take an engine apart, have a look. It's gear oil. Now when I got this engine running, I left the old gear oil in there. It was a bit creamy, but I left it in there just for testing purposes. There's no point in putting brand new oil in and then find out the gearbox is completely fucked, and then you have to take it all apart and waste all that new gearbox oil because it'll be contaminated with bits of metal and everything. So when you're testing, if you've got an engine running, you quickly have a little test with the old gearbox oil in. It's been in there all that time, it ain't going to matter having a little ride with it in. Anyway, so I gave it back, and as a family member decided to say, oh, that engine oil's no good, I took it out. It's not engine oil, dude, it's gearbox oil. And I'm getting on about it because that gets on my nerves when people say that two-strokes have engine oil, because they don't, it's gearbox oil. Anyway, so it's got new gearbox oil in it now, apparently. I think it's got some in, or did he not put any in? Alright, he didn't put any in. So we've got no gearbox oil in there at all. So I'm going to have to put some of that in there, which was unnecessary, but there you go. Apparently, the carb has a leak. Apparently it's leaking out the overflow pipe. Now, some of you may remember that I had that issue and I fixed it, and it seemed to be alright, but it happened again. I think the float isn't set right. Well, I know the float isn't set right. So we're going to have a look at that. Right, well I've been messing around with it and I can't find anything bloody wrong with it. There's no leaking coming out anywhere. All seems to be alright. I've had the petrol on, I've had it off, I've turned it around, I've lent it over. I've done everything and it ain't leaking. I can't get it to leak, so I don't know what that's all about. They said it was leaking out the overflow and pissing all over the floor. Well, it ain't. The tank's full up, petrol's on, I've moved the stopcock, the fuel's getting to it, and I've wiggled it around, I've moved it. It's not leaking. I don't know what the trouble is with that there then. It seems that a bit of an impatientness, because it's normal. I should point out it's normal to get a little bit of leakage out of your overflow pipe. That's what it's for. It's an overflow pipe. So, you know, carburetors ain't perfect. Sometimes you get it at the wrong position, a bit lent over, a bit the other way, whatever, and a little bit of fuel will come out the overflow pipe. So it's normal to have a little bit of leakage here, but a few drips or even a full run every now and again. That's totally normal. If that happens, don't go crying and going, oh, it's got a leak, you know, it's gonna die, you know, it's no good anymore. I need a new one. You don't need a new one, there's nothing wrong with it, man. Anyway, so I'm going to carry on trying to find the problem to get it to happen and see if I can get it to work. But let's see if it will start, shall we? Nothing wrong there, dude. That seems to be running pretty mint. All I've got to do is put a bit of gearbox oil in it and we'll be well away. I don't know what the trouble is. What's the trouble, man? There ain't no leakage or anything going on there. Bit of smoke, but it's a two-stroke. What do you expect? I don't. Now, I know there's a lot of different theories around sort of different engines and things and bits and bobs, but sometimes all you need is a little bit of common sense, and that's that. In fact, I might not even need a funnel. I might even better do it without a funnel. So it appears that this hasn't been topped up with any oil, so I'm just going to put some of this gear oil in there. And what you want is, you see your sight glass, hopefully you can see that sight glass. You should be able to see it now. There we go. That little sight glass there. So when you're doing it, you want your bike to be as straight as possible, and then you want to fill it up halfway. There it is. Now I want to fill it up halfway. You want it to be half full. So you slowly pour it in until you see it start to creep up on the sight glass, and then when you see it start to creep up like that, it might be a little bit too much because I poured it a bit quick, but at least you can see now it's just about 3/4 of the way up. It's a little bit higher, but that's not going to be the end of the world, see, because it's only gear oil. I know it's still a bit cloudy. It's because obviously it weren't all the way flushed out, was it? I think he said that he was going to put new oil in it, and it appears that he only got halfway and then got bored and decided to leave it. But it's always a good idea to clean off your plug or your cap or whatever you want to call it before you put it back in, so you don't put any dirt in there. Now this is perfectly good for testing purposes, yeah? This isn't, if I was going to go and ride this now, if this was the last oil that I was going to go and ride with permanently, or at least do a race or a ride or whatever, I wouldn't leave it like that. I would undo the plug, I'd get some cheap gear oil, put cheap gear oil through it, keep putting it through until you see the nice new oil start coming out the bottom, and then you flush it all out. Then I'd put more in, do it up, go for a ride, let it all go round, and then drain that out, and then just flush it all out. You can get dedicated flushers, but whatever works out, whatever you want to do, just flush it all out. But as you can see, that's gone down now. That's gone down below half now. Because this is just for testing purposes, I want to see if this gearbox is alright, because no one's ridden this bike. So it might not be alright, there might be a problem with it. It might, you know, there might be a gear that's snapped, there might be some teeth missing on the gears. Anything could be wrong with it. So there's no point in going through all the trouble of flushing it all out, putting properly decent new gear oil in there until you know whether the box is alright or not. So that's that. Now I've just topped it up. It does seem that this engine's had a recent rebuild because it's very clean and it's got new gaskets here and there and everywhere. So I would say that unless they've found something and cut corners or found something and left it or missed something altogether, it's probably going to be alright. So I wonder if we've got any brake fluid in the rear brake. Looks like we might have a little bit just from looking at through there. But I don't know, we'll have to have a look and see. We'll have to top that up. There's a small amount in there. That might be enough, we'll leave that for the time being. Because what I'm probably going to have to do anyway is bleed all the brakes and flush them. Because I don't know if they work. It seems that this was a little bit of a cut and shut. Bike, I think it was. So I don't know what's going to go on now. I've got to go and take this bike back to the old storage unit now, where it's kept. I only brung it by here just so I can have a look at it because it seemed like a very easy fix. The carb was leaking. I didn't know there weren't any oil in the gearbox, but I've just fixed that. That's no problem. We need to go on a test ride. No one seems to understand. You've got to go on a test ride before you can start doing things like that and wasting money and time. But anyway, I'm going to go and take it back to the old storage unit now, and I'm going to work on it in the weeks periodically. Well, not that there's anything to work on, but there's a few things here and there that need to be done. It needs to be tested, that's for sure. It definitely needs to be tested. Need to try and find somewhere so that I can test it to see if it's actually going to be any good. But it needs to have some new plastics. If any of you lot have got a 1989 or anything around that year, the rear, the front, well, all the plastics basically. I think all the plastics would be ideal, but it needs the original front number plate, and it needs the two rear side plastics, and it also needs the mudguard, the rear mudguard. The front mudguard isn't original, but it looks alright. The rear ones just look crap because they're from a newer bike. They don't fit. They're flapping around all over the place. The bolt holes don't fit. So if any of you lot have got any of them and you want to sell them, let me know, because I don't own this bike. I'm not going to pay for anything for it. But my mate who owns it, I'll let him know, and hopefully we'll better make a deal and we'll have some original plastics for it then, and at least it'll look the part anyway. And I'm going to slowly work away and getting it mechanically sound. It pretty much is. Just need to make sure the gearbox is actually alright. But other than that, it seems to run alright. There's not any issues with it. It's got a kickstart now that does work, although it ain't the right one and it's been forced on, and I don't think it's going to last very long. But it's there and it works for now. So that's that. So hopefully if we can find some plastics, at least it'll look alright. So you will be seeing some videos of it coming up in the next couple of weeks, because I'm just gonna get it from the storage unit, bring it down for a day, just go over a few things on it, just make it look better, give it a clean. Not that it really needs a clean, but take things off of it, make it look better over a few weeks anyway, at least. But I've got plenty of other projects to be doing. In case any of you are wondering, I've got a new intercooler to be fitting on the Discovery. It's going to have a remap to go with that new turbo and intercooler. Then I've got all drilled and grooved and vented discs, plus all around, plus pads. Plus I've got to do pads on the Focus. Plus I've got to fix the oil leak on the Focus. I've got a lot to be doing, and I've got to service every single car, so there's going to be plenty of stuff coming up. If any of that interests you, that's fantastic, brilliant. It's going to be a long couple of weeks, I'll tell you that.